Okay guys, well I am going to decode this alchemical drawing for you using the ancient Egyptian number codes, and this way we actually get to see the information that has been hidden from us for so long, and we get to now understand what all of these symbols are trying to tell us. Now I'm going to start decoding this from the bottom because I think that that is very symbolic of where we are when we're first manifested onto the physical realm, and that is at the bottom gate on the physical plane. And we are about to now make our way up to God consciousness once again. So if we look at the bottom of this picture, we see that there's quite a lot of information encoded down here. And we see that they have put a square down, and then on top of the square they have a triangle. Now if we take each intersecting point on the outside of the square and triangle, which is also placed within a sphere, and also we need to understand that they have darkened half of the sphere. Now this is representing the two manifested planes on our realm. So we have the hard manifested physical plane and we have the half manifested ethereal plane. And so this is also being depicted by the shadow on one side. And so if we take all of these intersections on the outside of the triangle and the square, as well as these two intersections, because we have a cross that is running directly between the square also, we get another two dots. Now when we add these all together, we get the number 8. Now 8 symbolizes the infinite God energy, but it also symbolizes the immortal twin soul. So it's very, very correct that all of these dots are lining up where they are, because it's giving us the gates back to God consciousness. And this is what the 7 gates are also representing. Our 7 energy points, our 7 chakras, and these are our 7 gates back to God consciousness, because we're moving through our energy system back through the third eye chakra, which is located at the pineal gland, and then we basically are crowned when we reunite back with God consciousness. And once the divine souls, the divine twin souls, are reunited back with God consciousness, it becomes a 9 because it's now divine. They have now been crowned, and all of the knowledge and information has been bestowed upon them. And this is what the Akashic records actually are. And the Akashic records are actually located in the Orion Nebula, God's mind, God consciousness. So it only makes sense that the Akashic records would be there. And this is what becomes accessible to the twin souls once they have reunited back with God consciousness. Once they have returned back to God consciousness, this then becomes available to them. So we see that we've got the 8 represented down here, but then when we take these intersecting lines here as well, which are all on an angle, we get the number 4. And of course we know that 4 is equal to foundation. 4 is the earthly plane. 4 is basically another representation of the physical. When we see the number 6 representing the physical, that's representing the physical human form, whereas 4 is representing the manifested realm that we are basically birthed onto. Now we also see 2 because we have these 2 intersecting lines in the middle of the cross, and so we get the number 2, and each of these is denoting the twin souls. So we have the male here and we have the female here. Now, interestingly, we can actually turn this into a 6 and a 7, because if we take all of these dots on one side here and we share them from the intersecting line with the female, we get 6, and then we have this blue dot is number 7, and that is the ethereal form, the ethereal state that we are in when we are our true self. And we also get this on this side, we get the 6, and then we add the dot, we get the 7. And we also have the 7 depicted here quite clearly. So once again we have 7, which is depicting or symbolizing the ethereal self, the ethereal soul, but also the 7 gates back to God consciousness. And it's also interesting to note that this is placed in the correct position because it's above the wings. Now remember, whenever we see the wings, that is actually symbolizing the ethereal realm, the ethereal state of being. And this is why we see the wings on the heart, because when we see that symbol, it means that we are in the ethereal part of our heart, because our heart resides in the physical as well as the ethereal. It is the only part of us that resides in both, and it is also our anchor into the physical. Our third eye resides with the divine, with the ethereal, and we can't access our third eye and our consciousness entirely until we've moved through the heart, until we come into our heart. And this is what we all need to be trying to do now. Moving beyond our logic, moving beyond our mental, our idea of who we think we are, the program that we run to interface with this matrix. We have to get rid of that completely. It's a virus now, okay? We need to leave the program and move back into our true form, and that is our ethereal state, our ethereal self. And we need to start listening to our ethereal self and not allow our program to keep overriding us, because our program keeps us in a perceived comfort zone, but it's an illusion, because the whole program that we are currently trapped within in this matrix is an illusion. So the program we run to interface into that matrix is not based on reality. It's only based on our perception that the illusion of the matrix is real. And so we really need to understand that that program is now obsolete. It's not serving us anymore. All it's doing is keeping us trapped in bondage. And this is exactly what the dragon represents. Bondage to the physical plane. This is what we have to defeat to move ourselves beyond the physical and start allowing ourselves to move more into our ethereal energetic form. We need to start perceiving ourselves as an ethereal being, not a physical being of limit and lack. It has to be a true understanding of who we are, and that is an ethereal, immortal soul. Now, lastly, before we keep moving up, I just wanted to show you that there's also a 5 represented here, and 5 represents the contract, so to speak, that we have with God before we're birthed onto the physical. So it's our destiny, it's our contract that we have had with the divine before we move and are manifested onto this physical realm. And we can also see that this 3, the way it's been placed with this line, can also symbolize a 5, and 5 and 4 are 9, so you have the divine number 9. And once again, this is when the divine twin souls reunite back with God consciousness. They become divine. They are no longer an 8, just the energy and immortal twin souls. They have now been crowned with this knowledge, all-knowing, the Akashic records. They've been rewarded, and this has been bestowed upon them. But they have to move out of bondage. And okay, so now we come up here and we see we've got stars either side, and they're both 6-pointed. On this side we have the male and female, and that's representing the twin souls, the 2 souls, the male and the female. And so this is not representing energy as well. I just want to clarify that once again. The energy within us is polarity of positive and negative. It's not male and female. There's been a misinterpretation, or people have decided that it just sounds good to make the energy within us male and female, but that doesn't actually make sense when you're referring to Hermetics and you're using the true sciences to understand the principles of the universe. Everything exists on 3 great planes: the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. It's called the principle of correspondence. Now, if we were to say that the energy within us, half is male, half is female, then that would have to also play out on the other planes. So in the mental and in the physical. Now, if that was to play out in the physical, that would actually make us hermaphrodites. So no, the energy within us is positive and negative. If you want to think and perceive it as being male and female, I suppose you have free will to do that, but it is incorrect. The energy within us is half-half because that creates polarity, and we need polarity for cause and effect and rhythm and all of the other principles of the universe. You cannot take one away because then everything collapses. So to create polarity, we need half and half. The only thing about polarity is that where does one begin and one end? And so for anyone that hasn't yet looked into the Kybalion and Hermetics, if you are finding this information and you want to understand it more clearly, I would suggest that you definitely read the Kybalion and understand at least the basics of the principles in which you are governed under. So let's go back to the stars. So we have the male and female twin soul depicted here, and on the other side we have Saturn and Jupiter. And we have 6 points on each of these stars. 6 and 6 equal 12. So we have 12 here and 12 here. And we actually get the number 3, which is the divine, the Trinity, once again. 12 is different to the actual 3. It's a different aspect of the Trinity because it's showing us that the two souls are still manifest on the physical. That's what the one is. The two souls are manifest on the physical. The one is the divine God is also manifested with these twin souls on the physical. And now if we actually times 12 and 12 together, we get 24. And then if we actually put 3 into 24, we get the Trinity. If we put the Trinity into 24, we get 8, the immortal twin soul once again. And so now we have our 3 8s represented. Now, we also have the female carrying the ruler and the male carrying the measure. Now, this is because the male has the ability to measure information that he's taking in. He has the measure of information. He has the information within him, okay? He brings it down with him. The divine twin soul has all of God's wisdom within him. But it's the female who has the rule and the law and the understanding of that information. She basically tells the male the laws and the rules that govern what he is measuring. And so they need each other to unlock all of the divine wisdom. They will never fully understand it if they only take in information based on what they find themselves. They need each other for that information to make full sense and for them to fully reunite with God consciousness. And of course we have the sun, Horus on the left-hand side, the male's always on the left, and on the right side we have the female, and she's got the moon, Isis, on her side. Now, we also have 11 rays around the sun. Now, 11 is symbolizing the two souls, 1 and 1, being birthed onto the physical realm using the energies of the sun and the moon because they are both needed. And they are actually manifest as souls into the physical form through the navel chakra. The navel energy point is where they come in. Now we also see the star on top of the twin souls' heads, and this is 6 large arrays with 6 small. So once again we've got 12, and then we can break that down to 3. So we've got the Trinity once again. And we've also got the symbol of Mercury within the star at the top. And Mercury is actually Hermes, the winged messenger in the Greek mythology. And we know Hermes stands for wisdom. So this is how they access the wisdom, together. And then they actually have the Akashic records available to them. Now it's also interesting that Mercury rules Gemini. Gemini are the twins. And it also rules Virgo, so the birth of the twins. Anyway, I'll leave it there. And this diagram will be available in the group for you to have a look at in more detail and study for yourself. And so I'll leave it there, as I said. As always, peace out.